What if life wasn't meant to be so complicated? This was something that a process that I was taking with me when I went into a grove this weekend. I found this Buddhist grove where the trees bowed over, like in the story of Buddha, where his mother, as she gave birth, they say the trees bowed so that she could hold on as she gave birth to Buddha. And as I found this grove, I sat there because I was contemplating a lot of different things. And as I sat there, I got swarmed with flies. And I realized after a few minutes that I was in the middle of a horse sanctuary and out in the middle of nowhere. So the wild horses would come here. And so I had to move. And I was a little disappointed because this is the spot I wanted, but it wasn't what I was going to be able to fulfill my purpose in. So I ventured down, and I found another grove, and I got to watch a snake, which was really cool because I was so quiet. It came and played with me and almost ran up on my foot until I moved it. But what happened was the flies followed me, and I was so, and I don't swat flies. I don't really kill things. I go off a lot of the Buddhist teachings, but these flies were not going to let me meditate, and they were irritating. And so I telepathically was trying to connect to these flies, and I was like, dudes, can't you see I'm in the middle of something here? Can you please go? And they didn't listen. And therefore, I decided flies deserved to die because they weren't listening to me. So I became adaptive. And I decided, well, if horses have a tail, I'm going to create a tail too. And I picked this vine or this stem with leaves, and I began to swat them away. And as I was swatting, I began to meditate. And I was doing some scripting, some Ho'oponopono, which is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, because I've created a situation in my life where I've become very whole on the inside. I've integrated my inner child, and so a lot of my mirrors on the outside no longer reflect desires I want. There's unfortunately a lot of people that haven't done this work, and so to find somebody who I'm able to vibrate with or be able to communicate with and to be able to feel seen, heard, and valued has become more limited at this time. And we're going to talk about that. And so I had come to a space where I was kind of lonely, and the one person that I did feel like I connect this way, he is a gay male, but he's taking his own journey elsewhere, and so it was kind of a sad moment for me, and me and my husband were arguing because his values are so different than my values, and so I was kind of in a space where I needed time alone. So I spent about 2 hours in this grove, and scripting and things like that, and getting angry at the universe, but also knowing that I was responsible for everything in my life, that this mirror was my projections of something going on inside of me, and that I was projecting out, and I was reflecting what I was feeling, etc., etc. So there's a part of me that obviously felt very isolated and alone inside, and so the universe was reflecting that for me at this moment. And there was also a part of me that was reflecting being unsafe, because I was unsafe to talk to this masculine aspect that's gay, but at the same time my husband felt unsafe talking to me because I have such high standards and such high values. And so because his values are so different, sometimes he didn't feel safe bringing them to me in fear of judgment or something of that sort. And so and that's not the person I wanted to be. So I was trying to dive in deep and figure out what's going on, right? And then also I wanted to address the fact that I've been in the work of helping others for so long that for me to be in that work means it's because I originally needed that work. And now that I've stepped into this space, I'm looking for something where I want to share what I love, but I realize a lot of people are not going to be ready for the work that I do. It has to matter to you. You have to value growth. You have to value expansion. And trying to sell myself to people that don't value that is a waste of my time. And so I want to reach those that are those unicorns that are wanting a better way of life. You know, I don't have depression. I don't have anxiety. I don't have addictions anymore. It's just, I've lived a pretty awesome inner world life. Like, I'm at peace and I'm whole with myself. And when I do, something does arise, I know how to go into this grove, and I know how to, I have the tools necessary. So I have the adaptability to create that switch, okay? To get those flies off of me. Those things that annoy me, I know how to get rid of those really, really fast and process through my emotions. So I'm in this grove, and the flies are everywhere, and I'm switching them, and then I go into my meditation. I start doing my scripting, my Ho'oponopono, and as I'm processing out these things, I said something, and chills just came through my whole body, and I says, I just want to be and love. I just want to be okay. I just, be able to be like, be in the now, just be who I am, and then just to love, because what is the most beautiful thing on earth? And that is love. Love is like worth living for. That's like, being in love is worth what makes me want to stay on earth. It just is. Like, I love to be in love. I love to love. That's like my passion, to create. And that's why I love to create, is because it's like babies, and I get to love every creation I make. And creation is what I love to do. I love to write. I love to create art. I love to create poetry. I love to create photography. I love to create new ways of doing things. I love to create. I am a master creator. So I always have all these different things. Well, I'm going to create something for you today, because as I was sitting there, I said, I want to be in love, and chills came through me. I want to be in love. I just want to be in love. And my whole body was like, holy shit, that's it. We're supposed to be in love with our life. Just be in love with our bodies. Be in love. That's our whole purpose. That's all we have to do, is to be in love. We don't have to save the world. We don't have to be righteous so we can go to heaven. We don't have to make $1 million. We don't have to this. We don't have to do that. We have all these expectations are bullshit. The only reason why we're here is to be in love. And what does that look like, okay? Because I had these flies all over me, right? And we're not going to always be able to control our atmosphere. And these flies, we're not going to listen. They're sometimes like kids, no matter how much you push them away, they're not going to go away, right? And they're just like all over you all the time. Well, being in love is in that moment, whatever you're experiencing, is to learn to be in love with it. Find something beautiful about it. Find something that's beautiful about it. And so as I was doing this, the flies started climbing on me. And I realized, wow, they're pretty. Like, they're blue, they're green, they're really pretty flies. And I watched as their wings fluttered, and as they started soldering their feet back and forth. And then I fell in love with the way they tickled me. And then I fell in love with the sound that they were making, that buzzing. And to the point, I did this for 45 minutes. I made sure, after I fell in love with the flies, I made sure I integrated this very, very much and so into my being. And then I came walking out of the grove, and as I was walking out of the grove, I was walking down the road, and I fell in love with the sunlight on my skin, and the wind, and the sound of the crickets in the grass. And I started to touch every rock, and it was amazing because every rock took on a personality. Suddenly, instead of seeing just a rock, I saw an alligator. And this log over here suddenly became this three-horned dinosaur. And blue jays started coming out of like everywhere, and blue dragonflies. And this world that I once thought didn't mirror anything that I wanted anymore suddenly came back to life. And it was beautiful, and I fell in love with it. Well, as I was walking back to the cabin, I realized I'm also going to have to apologize to my husband because I had said something very mean to him. I told him he wasn't worthy of me because his values were so different than mine. And I realized that that was a very arrogant thing for me to say. And so I was going to need to apologize, and he was very angry at me for some other things too. And we hadn't talked for about 48 hours. Well, we talked, but we were just kind of tolerating each other's things. Because I like to make sure, he likes to talk about stuff now. I like to make sure that I know why I felt that way before I approach it. So when I give an apology, it's sincere. I'm kind of a self-soother. He's kind of like he calls it something else where he like needs it now. So I went back and I had this conversation with him. My son's gonna walk in. Hi, sweetheart.
Mom, I want candy.
Yeah, you want 3 candies?
Yeah.
Mama doesn't have candies anymore.
I want candy.
Okay. Okay, we will go get you a prize in 5 minutes. Okay, let Mama finish this video and then you and I will go get a prize. Does that sound good? Okay. Okay. Do you want to sit on the couch? You want to shut the door and sit on the couch and wait for me? Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. And it's like this moment. There's nothing I can do to control this. I could scream, I could yell, I could push him away, I could do whatever, I could demand he leaves. But he's still here. He's still a fly, right? So I have to learn to fall in love be in love with whatever is your experience right now. So I went back to the cabin and I was like such on a high. Like it was such a beautiful moment to finally see the world this way again. And to be in love with every moment that I was having. And it put me right in the center of the power of now. And the growth you're able to make in the power of the now. I remember when I first read that book, within 2 weeks of practicing its principles, I was promoted at work. I was a manager at a call center. And I got promoted at work. I bought my house. Everything in my life that felt stuck suddenly was able to propel forward. The moments I was able to be in the present moment, which is the power of now. But what if you're in the power of be in love? So every moment you're in love with every moment. So I went back, and as I realized I was going to have to apologize to my husband, I actually started laughing out loud, like healing laughing. Because we have tears and we have all these things. And I realized the idea that I get to be in love with this challenge. I get to be in love with apologizing to him because I knew he's going to come at me. Because in the past, when I would go apologize to him, he has like this wounded lion and he attacks. And so we went up and we had a chat. And as he was going at me, I just paid attention to the glitter in his eyes and fell in love with that. And then paid attention to the glitter in his hair and fell in love with that. And chose not to take anything he said personally, because really, honestly, anything people say is a reflection of them, not you. But you've got to own up to that mirror too, because why is that mirror here? Where have I failed him? Where have I not allowed him to communicate his needs? And owning that part of myself. So I had to listen, and there were times where he got kind of cruel, and I actually did take it personally for a minute, and it made me cry up and tear up because my heart chakra was open, and I had to step back and say, hey, yo, I'm not going to be abused. And you have to let people know that if they're being toxic, you're not willing to stay in that circumstance. But at the same time, I did want to fall in love with this moment, and so we did. And we were able to chat and work things out, and then it became something I did love. Like, I actually did fall in love with apologizing because it turned into a beautiful way of being heard and being able to connect. I talk to a lot of people, and the more I'm learning about connection, about having empathy and being able to connect with people and love people how they need to learn, I realize I was never shown this as a child. Most people, when they talk, they don't actually listen. They're about proving you're wrong, proving you're right. It's a competition. It's a fight. I believe this, wrong, right. All of it's bullshit, okay? It's learning to listen and find out what values the other person has and being able to allow them to be seen, heard, and valued for who they are without judgment. And as much work as I have on myself, because I had such high standards for myself, I obviously had some judgments about people that weren't able to live up to the same standards that I had. So I had to work through and allow him to just be him. And so it turned out a beautiful thing, and it put me into this massive high. And what was really cool about this is, I kid you not, within 15-20 minutes, the sky, and I'm going to post a picture on my Facebook because it was so epically gorgeous. The sky above me, like it started to rain a little bit, and the sky above me lit up in the background, and this massive rainbow appeared. And there was actually a double rainbow, and you can't see the second rainbow as clearly as the first, and so I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up on it, but it be turned into this massive double rainbow. And it was just this inner peace of knowing that I had caught onto something. And that something was be in love. Whatever you're doing, be in love. And when I realized, because, I'm learning to love my body and love my life and love this and love my children, but be in love with them. And what does be in love mean? Be in love. What do you do when you're in love? You want to talk to it. You want to connect it. You want to understand it. You want to know what it needs. All these diets are not going to work for everybody, Like, some people are like, well, fruit's the way. But if some people eat fruit, they're going to die. They're allergic. You say meat's the only way. Well, some people can't handle the meat on their stomach. So learning to love you and be in love with you is learning to understand you and understand what your body needs and understanding what your spirituality needs. My beliefs are not going to work for everyone. And their beliefs are definitely not going to work for me. So it's finding out what works for you. And that's how you start being in love with yourself. You start communicating. You start touching yourself every day. You start saying, okay, what do you need? Start talking to yourself. Flirt with yourself. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what you want to do. Like if you were going to take yourself on a date, be in love with yourself. Be in love with the partner you have. Be in love with the space you're in. Because until you're absolutely in love with it, it can't shift, it can't change, because what we resist persists. And it was really funny because at the gym today, I'm sitting there and 2 flies land on me. Guess what? I just let them walk all over me. And I was like, oh, they're so cute. And I was like, you like flies? And I'm like, yeah, they're cute, right? If I like butterflies and I like dragonflies, and oh, by the way, I had this most beautiful butterfly dream the other night. Like, I got to go into this special world, and all of a sudden these butterflies came out, and it was so beautiful, and I filmed it on my camera, and then I woke up and realized it was a dream. That kind of sucked. But if I can love butterflies, and I can love dragonflies, and I can love all these different things, what's wrong with flies? We only think they're annoying, and those things are in our life that are annoying us, that keep us in a constant state of panic and things and anxiety. Those are what I teach people. I give them the tools, the ability to manage those. But once you start managing it, it's about being in love with what's in your reality. And that's all life's really about. That's being in the now. But instead of just being in the now, be in love with what's happening in the now, in your reality. Anyways, thanks for listening. You guys have a blessed day. I'm sorry I haven't been on a lot. I am working towards creating programs, and so I'm putting a lot of focus in the books and the programs and stuff that I'm creating, and so that's where I'm going to be putting a lot of my energy at this time. But I love ya, and I hope you have a blessed day.